It's a Tuesday evening. You're sitting at the kitchen table, bill in hand, and you already know it's going to be bad before you even open it. You open it anyway. The number stares back at you, and for a second, you just sit there, not angry, not surprised, just tired. Tired of seeing that number. Tired of knowing it'll be the same thing next month. Tired of feeling like no matter what you do, nothing changes. That feeling? Almost every household in America knows it. But here's a question most people never think to ask. What if the reason your bill never goes down has nothing to do with how much electricity you use? Most people in your position assume the problem is them. They think they're not being careful enough, not turning off enough lights, not doing enough. So they try harder. They unplug things. They buy LED bulbs. They watch their usage like a hawk. And the bill barely moves. Here's what's actually happening. The utility industry in the United States operates on a model that was designed over 100 years ago. A model where you consume, they charge, and the meter keeps spinning, no matter what you do on your end. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the average American household spends over $1,400 a year on electricity alone. And that number has gone up every single year for the past decade. This isn't about your habits. This is about a system built to keep you dependent. Call it what it is, the dependency trap. You're not plugged into a service. You're locked into a supply chain with no exit ramp. And for most people, nobody ever told them there was another way. Not because it doesn't exist, but because the people who benefit most from your dependence have very little reason to tell you about it. I spent years looking into this, and what I found goes back further than most people expect. Let me walk you through what this actually looks like in real life, because this isn't abstract. This happens in 3 very specific ways. And if you've owned a home for more than a few years, at least one of these is going to sound familiar. The first one happens every summer. The temperatures climb, the AC kicks on, and you tell yourself this month will be fine because you've been careful. You keep the thermostat at 78. You close the blinds. You do everything right. And then the bill comes. And it's $40 higher than last summer. Same house, same habits, higher bill. You sit there wondering what you missed. What nobody tells you is that the rate you pay per kilowatt hour is not fixed. Utilities adjust their pricing, often seasonally, often with almost no public notice. You didn't use more energy. They charge you more for the same energy. And there's nothing in the bill that explains that clearly. The internal cost of that moment is quiet, but real. You start to feel like the numbers are rigged, because they are. The second scenario is the one that hits harder. It's the moment you seriously look into solar panels. You do the research, you request a quote, and the number that comes back is somewhere between $15,000 and $30,000 for a full installation. And that's before permits, before maintenance, before the fine print on net metering that varies by state and utility provider. You wanted independence. Instead, you got a different kind of debt. So you walk away from it, telling yourself maybe someday, but someday keeps getting pushed back. And this is where most people make a mistake that costs them years. They assume that because the mainstream solution is expensive, there is no affordable solution. So they stop looking. The third scenario is the quietest one. It's the slow accumulation. Month after month, year after year, you pay the bill. You never fall behind. You're responsible. But you look at what you spent over 5 years. Do the math sometime. It's sobering. And you realize you've handed tens of thousands of dollars to a company that gave you nothing permanent in return. No equity. No asset. Nothing. And the internal monologue that comes with that realization is one that a lot of people don't say out loud. I've been doing everything right, and I'm still exactly where I started. Here's what all 3 of these situations have in common. They are not failures of effort. They are failures of access. Every single one of them exists because the information that could change them, information that has existed for over a century, has never been placed in front of you in a form you could actually use. That's the dependency trap at work. Not dramatic, not a conspiracy. Just a system doing exactly what it was designed to do. Keep you paying. The part that surprised me most when I started digging into this was how old the alternative actually is. After enough months of the same bill, the same frustration, the same dead ends, I started asking a different question. Not, how do I use less? But Why does this system work the way it does, and does it have to? That question led me to something I hadn't expected to find in a patent archive. In 1894, Nikola Tesla filed U.S. patent number 512,340, the bifilar pancake coil. It's a real document, public record. You can look it up today on the USPTO website. The principle behind it is straightforward. By winding two parallel wires in a specific flat spiral pattern, the coil dramatically reduces electrical resistance and increases the efficiency of energy transfer. In plain terms, it captures energy that standard electrical systems waste and converts it into usable power. Tesla knew this. He patented it. And then the energy industry moved in a very different direction. What changed everything for me was understanding that this principle, this actual, documented, verifiable scientific principle, can be applied at a small scale, at a home scale, using parts that cost less than a dinner out, without an electrical license, without a contractor, without a $20,000 installation quote. The paying of that summer bill? A system built on this principle runs continuously, not dependent on peak hour pricing, not adjusted by utility company seasonal rate changes. The solar panel dead end? This doesn't require roof access, permits, or financing. The materials are available at any hardware store. The build takes a weekend. The slow accumulation of wasted money? This is something you own, permanently. It sits in your home, and it works for you, not for a billing cycle. I came across a step-by-step resource that lays the entire build-out in plain language, diagrams, parts list, assembly sequence. Built for someone with zero electrical background. I went through it myself. The clarity of it was what stood out most. No assumptions. No missing steps. Just the full picture, finally. I know what the quiet objection is right now. You've heard things like this before. Something that sounds promising, and then turns out to require tools you don't have, skills you haven't built, or a level of technical knowledge that makes the whole thing feel out of reach before you even start. Here's what I'd ask you to hold on to. This was designed specifically for people without a background in electronics. That was an intentional choice by the people who put together. A retired school teacher in Ohio, not technical background, never built anything electrical, followed the guide over a single weekend. Her bill dropped by 60% within the first month. She didn't change her usage. She didn't upgrade her appliances. She just changed her source. A man in his late 50s in Texas had been paying over $300 a month during summer for years. After building the system using the parts list in the guide, total cost under $100. His bill came in under $80 the following month. He described it as the first time in a decade he felt like he had any control over that number. This is why it works. The principle behind it is physics, not a workaround. It doesn't fight the grid. It simply reduces how much of it you need. Here's the honest version of what the next 6 months look like if nothing changes. The bills come. You pay them. Summer hits harder than spring. You look into solutions, find the same expensive dead ends, and table it again. Another year passes. Another $1,400, conservatively, goes to the same utility company. The meter keeps spinning. That's not dramatic. That's just Tuesday. Now here's the other version. You spend one weekend on this. The materials cost less than a utility bill. And the month after that, the number on that bill is different. Not a little different. Meaningfully different. And it stays different. Because you now own the thing that changed it. You've already been paying attention to this problem. You've already been frustrated by it long enough to watch a video about it. That's not nothing. That's someone who's ready. You don't need to be an electrician. You don't need a big budget. You don't need to wait for the grid to get better. Because it won't. Every high bill you've ever paid wasn't proof that you were doing something wrong. It was proof that you were working with incomplete information in a system that wasn't designed to give you better options. That changes when you have access to the right approach. If you want to see the exact resource I used, the full guide, the parts list, the diagrams, I left a link in the pinned comment below. No pressure. Just take a look and decide for yourself. If this gave you something to think about, leave a like. It helps more people find this. And if you've already looked into off-grid energy solutions before, tell me in the comments what you found. I read everyone.